Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Nate the Great YouTube channel. My name is Nate, and this is day 3 of my hybrid sugar diet celebration week. And oh boy, let's just get right to business. So if you look up on the screen here, you'll check to see I weighed in at a new 201.4 pounds. That means I am only 1.4 pounds away from my long-reaching aspirational goal. When I set that goal when I was 335 pounds, I never thought I'd be this close, and oh boy, I feel amazing. So let's talk a little bit about that, because today is also a party. So if you think about the final boss of anything, right, that last hurdle, maybe you're running like a mud run or something, it's that last obstacle, and it's like the one where it shocks you and stuff, that's how I feel. So today we have our big party. My oldest graduated high school last night, got his diploma, so really excited for him. And then my youngest, I dropped him off first thing this morning. He's going on his 5th grade trip to Universal, and then he graduates next week. So I'm just so excited for both of them. They are super awesome kids, and they're the next steps in their adventure. My oldest going into the out of school and into high school or into college, and then my 5th grader moving into middle school. But anyways, I wanted to touch base because today there's a bunch of cookies, there's a bunch of cake, and there's a bunch of cupcakes, and there's a bunch of pies, and just all the things, right? And I wanted to kind of touch base on that because here and this is where I wanted to actually talk about in this video, which is this. I've been reaching out to a few of my carnivore friends, people that are currently using carnivore to try and lose weight, and I know these individuals personally, and I've been just talking to them about what I've been doing, even though it seems crazy and extreme, and kind of showing them my results. I just got my blood tests back, and I'll be sharing those here soon, and all the metrics, all the markers are absolutely amazing. I no longer have a non-alcoholic fatty liver, and so again, we'll talk about that in another video. But I've been just kind of giving them a rundown of, hey, I know you're stalled. I know you've talked to me about how you feel stuck, and this feels like an opportunity to share and help others just maybe work on a little bit of their health journey, maybe shift gears and get through that stall. And they subscribe to all of the carnivore YouTubers, Dad Bodberry, and all the likes, and they've been putting out a huge, all those doctors that don't have any biased opinion because they're not financially beholden to a specific product that they sell or anything. But I digress. They've been putting out videos basically providing a ton of misinformation, a ton of false narratives around what the sugar diet and the sugar fasting protocol is and what it isn't. And it's just really discouraging because as I'm talking to these individuals, they're like, oh, Dr. Ken Berry put out his video and he basically dismissed it out of hand as just an absolute, quackery, nutcase, extreme, nonsense. And I got really discouraged because, again, I've made a couple videos about the carnivore cult, and it really is true. It's sad because there's so many people, and if you go to that video that Ken Berry put out, and again, I respect Ken Berry. I followed him for a long time, and I still do, because more knowledge is not bad, okay? But at the same time, you have to understand that if you just dismiss something out of hand, and yes, the science isn't there yet, but there's an amazing video that I watched. I think it's called a YouTube channel called Amplify Vitality. I think I just found it like yesterday, and he goes into all of the physiological things that are happening to your body when you only eat fructose and sucrose, and you cut out protein and fat. And I thought it was now it gets really, really into the weeds, with the technical terms and the medical terms. So I had to I had to pause the video and watch it multiple times, um, and really look up some of the terms and understand what he was talking about. But it was really, really encouraging that there is some emerging data that shows that this works. And the one thing that I really wanted to dispel with all these false narratives from these carnivore channels is this: the sugar fasting protocol is not meant to be used continuously. It's supposed to be used as a tool. You're supposed to do it to help you get through maybe a day or 2 or 3 where you had when you went on vacation, or you had a celebration like I do right now, and you made of eating foods that are a little less on the healthy side. Maybe your calories counts was really high, and to that end, the narrative from the carnivore people is, oh well, you're just eating sugar every day, all day, and that's all you're eating, and that's so unhealthy, and this is why it's bad, blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're just, if you're a real doctor, truly, if you're a real doctor of science, science is not like a destination. It's a process of learning and making mistakes, using the evidence, and then formulating conclusions based on evidence, and then challenging that assertion. Okay? If you just straight out of hand dismiss something without looking into the evidence, without even trying to understand the results that other people are saying, you don't have my respect. You don't have my adoration, because you're not keeping an open mind. Now, Tim Ernst, I've talked to him about him on my channel before. He was a keto carnivore coach, and he has a pretty successful YouTube channel, and he's like, I'm gonna try it, and it worked for him. Now, he has a different approach, but he documented it all, and I love that he was willing to try. And guess what? I'm sure he's probably either lost some subscribers because that carnivore cult, they're like, whoa, you can't do that. That's unacceptable. This is not how carnivores work, operate, or keto people work. And to that end, it's like, Tim, you have my respect. You are an absolute legend. And everybody else out there that, and there's other channels, I've seen them, I just can't remember off the top, but there is a lot of people out there that are like, look, I've been carnivore keto forever, and this sugar diet and this sugar fasting thing goes against everything that I've taught, I've known, everything I've learned, all my experiences, but I'm gonna give it a try, because science is a process of learning and trying and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, based on the evidence. But you can't get there unless you acknowledge that it's real, and then you give it a try yourself, and then from there, that's when you can say, okay, this didn't work for me because XYZ, or maybe it did work for you because of the ABC, right? That's the process of learning and growing, making mistakes, and using that evidence to continue to try and tweak and evolve not only just your health journey, but hopefully others. So when I was talking to my carnivore friends, they just dismiss it out of hand because their authority figures on YouTube are already dismissing it out of hand. And I just feel like what a missed opportunity, not only for my friends, because they're stalled, spoiler alert, and they're just going to keep doubling down. They're going to keep reducing their calories, their cortisol levels are going to keep going up, their sleep's going to continue to be garbage, they're ruining their thyroids, their metabolism is tanked, and they're like, yeah, but it worked in the past, so it has to continue to work, right? And I'm like, look, it's your life, right? I teach karate, so I know there's 2 things that you have to do before you can get a student to really become good at karate or anything in life. It's this: 1, they have to be willing to make mistakes. 2, you have to be willing to help yourself first. If those 2 prerequisites don't happen, then you cannot help somebody. It's very, very difficult to push somebody into success if those 2 metrics aren't there first. And that's exactly what's happening. They go to the authority figures. The authority figures, again, totally biased because they sell their own products that are carnivore keto, right? So they don't even consider that. It's just, nope, this person said this is this is silly, so I'm going to dismiss it out of hand. I'm just going to stay stuck in my carnivore, keep doubling down, keep lowering my calories. I know one of my friends, he's a guy, he's pretty big, he's like 260 pounds, and he's eating like 1,400 calories a day, and he's stalled for many months. And I'm like, I just keep shaking my head. I'm like, there's a better way. There's a better way, but you have to help yourself first. Anyways, I talked about that enough. So the main point of this video today is talking about environment. Okay, so I know one of the biggest things, you go out there on the carnivore, they're like 10 ways to optimize, or mistakes to avoid on the carnivore keto diet. And one of the biggest themes that you're going to see is, make sure you have your environment locked in. Make sure your environmental factors are perfect. And that, I mean, you got to get rid of all the junk food. You got to get rid of all the temptations, because eventually your mitochondria are going to, try to sabotage you, and you're going to have some stressor pop up. Maybe you have some event in your life where a family member, gets ill or whatever it is, right? And you're going to have a moment of weakness, and then you're going to go for those carbs. You got to get all that stuff out of your environment. Now, it can work at home, especially if you have no kids or nobody that isn't also on the carnivore diet, which is a big ask, because again, a lot of family members are like, no, I'll just eat normal and I'm good. So they're going to naturally have their own foods, right? Well, so that stuff is always in your environment, regardless of how much you want it. Also, social environments, when you're going out and about. I was just talking about this on yesterday's video, where you literally, oh sorry, there's a big spider got in my face. I'm out here in the woods, and if you're the first person through the path every morning, you get a nice face full of spider webs. So anyways, I digress. I was at a birthday party probably a year ago, and there was all the temptations, right? Cakes, because we celebrate as human beings. We celebrate. We use food for everything. We use food in every instance of celebration and sadness and all emotions in between, right? And I'm at the birthday party, and I'm just sitting there because I'm like, well, I can't eat any of this. And believe it or not, food offers like a social contract. So when you're eating the cakes and everybody else is eating the cakes, right, you have a social kind of agreement that this is going to be fun and engaging, and you guys conversate and have nice time. When you are just sitting there and you're drinking water, nobody wants to ask you, like, why aren't you having cake? Why aren't you having pizza? Like, what are you doing? But they're all thinking it, right? And then they don't talk to you, because it's like, why is Nate not having any stuff? Why is he even here? And so again, your environmental factors in carnivore and keto and all these really strict things where if you make one mistake, ooh, you're done, right? You've done screwed up, and then it's a slippery slope. You feel like a failure, you feel like you let everybody down, and then you're off the wagon for however long until you get the courage or the willpower to get back on, and the damage could be many pounds or many months lost on your health journey, and it's just really sad and it sucks. So let's compare that to sugar fasting, and let's use me as a use case, because I got a bunch of junk food at the house literally right now, and this is day 3 of my hybrid sugar diet. So I've been just enjoying the moment as I see fit with the family and friends, not thinking about the food. And so I woke up this morning, and as I was driving my son over to drop him off at school, to take him off to let him go to his Universal trip, I said, I have all this food back home, all this cookies and all these yummy stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have all that. I'm gonna have it all. Here's the difference, and this is the theme that I keep coming back to. I'm just going to eat normally, which means, again, just like I mentioned in yesterday's video, on carnivore, you're so restricted that eventually, when you have that moment of weakness, you splurge and you just eat it all, because you don't want people to see, right? You're gonna hide it. You're gonna binge, right? You're gonna binge hard, and then you're gonna feel like absolute garbage for days and days and days. And it goes in cyclical cycles where it creates eating disorders. It's really unhealthy. Whereas in the sugar fasting protocol and the sugar diet, I went out with family and friends the other night. my weight went up to 204. Oh no. And then I just by happen chance, because yesterday was a little bit weird when it came to the timing and the procession of the graduation with like 800 some kids. So it took hours and hours. So it was too late before we could go out to eat. So when I got back, I just had a sugar bomb right before bed. Had about 800,000 calories of jam and fruits. And then I went to bed like an hour later, slept like a baby, perfect. I had like an 87 sleep score. Again, got like over 100 minutes of REM and deep sleep. So again, my environmental factors when I'm on the sugar fasting and sugar protocol is this. I don't have to worry about my environmental factors on this new way of eating, because just like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have that cake. I'm going to have those cookies. I'm going to have a piece of pie. I'm going to have cupcakes. I'm going to have it all. Okay? And tomorrow, the scale is inevitably going to go up. But here's my game plan. Then I go on a sugar fast for the next probably 3 to 5 days, depending on our activities, family, activities and graduation stuff. And then the weight will just come right back down. The scale will go up. I will control my sugar fasting, bring it right back down, and that's when I'm going to hit 199.9 or lower. And so that's the biggest thing I want to talk about today in this video today is environmental factors. Carnivore, keto, so restrictive. You can't have anything in your house, right? That's all the recommendations is keep it all out of your house. And that's just completely unrealistic. And then when you go out to social environments, all the temptations are out there as well. And you only have so much willpower, okay? You only have so much inspiration. It can only go so far. At some point, there has to be release valve. And the sugar fasting and the sugar diet, that's the release valve. I'm not worried about all this food back home. I don't want to binge on any of it. I'm going to enjoy it normally, have a cookie, have a cupcake, have an apple pie, enjoy the moment with the people that I want to pay attention to rather than the food that's all encompassing my mind because, oh my God, there's carbs. Oh no, what am I going to do, right? And that's what I wanted to end today's video on is this. My carnivore friends, my keto friends, if you've been stalled and you've been stuck and all your health metrics are going down, you have an opportunity. You can keep explaining it away. You can keep arguing with your doctors when they tell you that they're worried about your cholesterol levels. And you go, well, so-and-so on YouTube says that as long as I have fluffy LDL, I'm good. And your doctor's like, what are you talking about, right? You can keep arguing with them. And you know what? In that Dr. Ken Berry video, there's many a comment saying, hey, I almost died. I got adrenaline dump. My cortisol levels were through the roof. My cortisol levels, everything was in the wrong spot. And I crashed. And to that end, there's many people. That person made it out, and they've since moved away from that extreme diet. But there's a lot of people that don't. And to this, I say, okay, it's your life. You get to dictate how you do it. But if you keep yourself closed-minded, if you keep yourself in this bubble where you can only do it one way, and even if it's not working, and they tell you like, oh, you just have to have more discipline. You just have to be better at it. You just suck. You're just cheating all the time, right? They vilify you and they put you down and they tell you that you're just not good enough and you're not doing it correctly and everything in between. There's a better way, guys. And to that end, I hope all of my struggling carnivore people out there, again, remember carnivore does work. It really works really well as an elimination diet, but it's not supposed to be meant to be used for the rest of your life. It's a tool, just like the sugar fasting is a tool. And switching back and forth between burning ketones and glucose and back and forth is going to offer you the metabolic flexibility that your body wants and needs. If you just keep hammering down one path, eventually you're going to find yourself hitting hard rock and you're going to get stuck. And then you can either double down, triple down, keep at it and still get stuck, or you can maybe try a different path. Either way, I really hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm going to have a wonderful day. I will not be doing another update tonight. This is already too long of a video. And my goal in that sugar fasting journey is to hit that Wonderland. And I hope you all come along with that ride, because I'm super crazy excited about it, and I hope you are too. So anyways, everybody have a good rest of your day, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, bye.